Hi everybody. Hope everybody's day is going well so far. Mine hasn't been too bad. Actually last night I've been trying to get a third monitor and I finally got my hands on one. So now I can look at Unity, chat, and OBS all at once. It really is nice though. Yeah, let's turn the music down. Okay. I guess let's get right into it. If you remember, some of this might look a little different. I had some time this morning, so I just went and cleaned up some of the code. Nothing really that exciting, so I didn't want to take up streaming time with it. But all I did really was in the simple scene, I added its own component registry that's only used for scene objects, and that way we don't have to worry about disposing every listener. It's really obvious in this in the turn manager, because before we had to have like an object here that would clean this up each up when the scene was disposed, but now since we just use the scene components, it will automatically be disposed for us. So that's nice. Everything looks a lot better. But today, as I said in the description, we're mostly going to be doing more netcode. Let's see, where is it? Here, network tracker. Now while I was doing this, I found a couple bugs, so why don't we go ahead and see if some of them will show up. One of them is a little inconsistent because it kind of is like a race condition, but okay, let's fire this up as a host. Okay, and you'll see here that in the client the bug showed up, so let's restart them and do it the opposite way. Okay. And so we're getting a null exception here, and that's because actually if you look at the order of the debug logs here, you'll see that we actually get the message for the player color before the network player actually, well, its start function runs. So this player info is null. So one thing we could do is if player info is null, we could just try to grab it here, but I think a better thing might be if in the network tracker we just wait a few frames to try and let all the objects catch up. And in order to do that, I think we should just add some kind of state tracker in the match manager, because we'll need that pretty soon here for another bug I found. So we'll just do another simple state machine. Let's call this current state. Okay, and So the first will be some kind of uninitialized state. And then, let's see, so I guess we can call this first connection wait. And then something like that. So then we just need to initialize the state machine here. Oh, is it not like that? Oh, you just pass it the current state right there. Oh, am I offline? Okay, looks like I'm back. Sorry about that, I'm not sure what happened, but my Twitch was telling me I was offline, so. But anyway, back to work. I actually think a good idea might be to register the state machine. Well, let's wait. We'll need to see if something actually cares. Okay, so now we have the color. We'll just need to move. Oh, here it is. On connection established. So here we'll just need to move this request player color somewhere else after some kind of timer. This is just so will be updated every frame. And then here we'll check the current state. Then if the match state is let's see, first connection wait. Then we'll subtract the timer. And then of course if timer goes below 0, we know to go ahead and go to the next state. Okay, but so let's see. On connection established. So here we set the current state. Actually, so if we're uninitialized, then we know this is the first time we've connected. We'll need to have some other logic if we have like reconnected after a disconnect or something, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. we'll change the state to first connect and wait, and then set the timer to 0, or to whatever we'd want this period to be. I'll just set it to something small for now. And now we can go ahead and be a little smarter about this. Let's move this down here. And then we can remove. That way this will only need to be called when we actually care about the updates. One second. Still, the Twitch dashboard is acting a little strange. I'm just going to make sure that I am actually live. Okay, yeah. Okay. So anyway, back to programming. So we remove the ticking and then we set the state. Awaiting color. And then we'll call this request player color. So now this brings us to another bug I found. You might notice that both clients actually request the player color, and so the color picker actually runs twice, and the game just kind of goes with it, so it leads to actually creating the board twice. So we can go ahead and fix that here. Let's see. I guess we'll go to the network player interface. Okay, so what we need to do . So basically this should only be called if the state in the match manager is set to one of these. Here, because on the color decided we'd set the current state. Received color. So the player color decider needs to have a little bit more logic here, I think. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. I guess here we should add called already calculated. Or I don't know, use results or something like that. And then the match manager, we need to add the state machine as a component. Let's see, let's call this match state. And that way we can use the state in the player color decider. Okay, now now this is one of the changes I did this morning, is now since this match state is where instead of we're not registering this component, we're actually getting it. We should do this in the separate setup function, so that way we don't worry about the order that all these various components were initialized. So match state equals scene, and then we get the component. Let's see, component keys, match state, and then here basically we only need to calculate the color if the match state is below or something previous to what we had to the what is it? I'm trying to remember what I called it. Something previous to received color. So if it's uninitialized, first connection wait, or received color, then we'll calculate this. And any other state will return basically and this user results flag will tell the network player interface that we really just don't care about what the results are, and so we won't send them. And this will happen if the first the first client I think actually we need to remember when the server needs to remember when the player color has already been sent out. Well, I'm trying to think. There's like a couple different options we could do here. Either, and I'm trying to think what the best thing to do would be. Say, okay, well, obviously, on the first, when the server receives first, command asks for player color. It actually calculates the color and it should call RPC receive player color, which will then send that value to all the clients. But the clients could still call command ask for player color again, so a few options. The first would be if we cache the results and send the same thing back, or just ignore it. I'm not really sure. What would be better to do? Let's go back here and see. I'm actually thinking we just need to have this always ticking because sometimes we might change the state. That's not right. Not at that position, so. Okay, so what would really happen here is that on color decided, this state would be changed to receive color, so it would never call this awaiting color. So I think the only time that server would receive two asks or two queries for the player color would be somehow if in the latency, like if you had really high latency. But luckily I think Unity makes sure that the players will always receive their messages. Well, I guess if they didn't receive messages, we would get a disconnect error, so then we'd handle it that way. So yeah, I don't think we need to worry about that. Okay, so I think, yeah, we'll do it this way. I think we'll actually have the server not care, and the server will just the server will basically always calculate a color for you, but the game itself will just disregard the second color when it comes through if it already has received one. I think that's the best way to do that. I also think we need to move this logic out of the network player interface because I don't really want network player interface to do anything except send send values back and forth. One other thing we should do there is that this only should run if it's the local player. we'll move all this out. So yeah, we'll need to have some other information. Oh, I think didn't I? Because yeah, this will need to get the net ID. I guess the player info would be a good way to do it. In fact, let's change this from just. Oh no, I don't want to delete it. Let's change this from the player info to local player information. And again, this net ID is a unique identifier, and the good thing is that it's the same for all objects on the network. So now we'll have the server info, and I also need the local player info. Oh, I forgot to rename it in the actual class, didn't I? Okay, so let's go ahead. Now these, you'll notice that the server info and the local info is actually in the game's components instead of the scene, and that's because they will probably persist between scenes, depending on how we decide to deal with menus in the future. And I'll change this to also local player. Oh yeah, except net IDs of course are unsigned ints, not just ints. And then if or the local player, oh, let's go below. We need to set the net ID for here. Okay. So now we get rid of this. We need another need some other kind of messenger to say when we've received the player color. Because we have this color decided, which should be called after we've Yeah, see, the network player interface will call an event, which will then call this function, and then once we've decided on the color and set it here, then we call this message. Starting to get quite a bit of messages here. I'm not sure if there's some kind of better way to do it, but okay. And then oh, thank you, Quasi TV. Okay. So do I just not need to even have the hashtags anymore? Right, good to know. Anyway, guess we need to set this messenger. Oh yeah, we need to make a new one. Let's say received color. And then we'll say the received color message. And then we'll go ahead and just subscribe to it right here. Of course, this needs to also pass us this information. Okay. So now we need the player interface to also call that event. Generics. Let's receive from server. Then we send the results here. And just the reason I'm doing this is because I want to try and keep this player interface to not from really, I don't really want it to have any logic in itself. It just sends messages to other objects to deal with everything. Okay, and now, so after it figures out what color the local player is, it calls this color decided message. Okay, so I need to ask for here, request player color. Oh wait, no, we just wait. Color society. it's all working now. And so now, once the color is decided, it sets the state, and it'll basically just ignore any other. Or does it yet? Yeah, here I need to change this. So here as well, where we'll ignore duplicate messages if any are sent. Oh. So, yeah, if we're waiting color, we obviously want to set it, but then also if we're in one of these previous states, because the server, or actually to be technical, the host instance of the game could be ahead of us, and it would have already sent the message out before we have actually asked for it. I guess otherwise I'll just have a little debug here. Debug, I guess duplicate color message from server received. Okay, so now let's see if that fixes some of the bugs we were having. Oh. Oh, yes, I changed the name of this. Anything else? So now we'll build an external game so we can test the network capabilities. So I guess we'll act as the host first, or the editor will. Okay, so oh, I know what I forgot to do. I forgot to add this to this scene to the setup list. So, or this component to the setup list, so the setup function was never called. Alright, let's try it again. Luckily it doesn't take too long to build the game. Otherwise this would be a pain to debug. Okay, so let's look at the debug and see what happened. Connected, second player connected. Okay, and so the connection was established. We asked for color. Let's see, so here we did ask for color twice, but we only regarded one message, so the other one was just discarded just as we wanted. So yeah, everything looks good so far. Okay, so let's open this again and let's run as the client this time and see what happens. Okay, so everything looks to have worked. We received the message for the color and then the board was created. Alright, cool. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was wondering what would happen there. I think both of the pieces are actually inside of each other. Yeah. That's because actually in the possible movement, it doesn't, oh no, it does take into account, oh, it's because of the test behaviors we have. I don't think it cares if the space is already occupied. Let's see if we can change that. Okay, so it does want it to be open. That is a little strange. It looks like we found a bug, but I want to do netcode today, so we can try and fix that some other time. Okay, so let's close this for now. So now the next obvious step is to have the pieces update and to only let the local player move their own pieces on their turn. So let's do that first. Okay, so first on the turn manager, you have this active player as an integer. Let's actually change it to be player color. And then we'll do something. We'll just have it switch here. So if the active player is it's undecided or black, then we go to white. Otherwise, decimal. Otherwise it's black. I think that's because the white player always goes first in chess. Is that right? Okay, yes, that is right. I thought I remembered that. So yeah, we don't have to do this anymore. Start turn choosing command. So we need to change this from a messenger int to player color int. Okay, so I think this will also cause some problems in the chooser, so let's go over there. We'll change the active player here to also be player color. Okay, so here's another thing we need to change, the owner player. Yeah, I know, I always feel kind of bad saying it. Guess we could have red and blue chess pieces. That might cause some other errors. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Just going through and changing all the places where the player is an integer to a color. Okay, so I think that's everything. So where were we? We were in the turn chooser. Okay, I thought this might throw some options, but I mean some errors, but I think we've changed all the owner player to the color now, so that's good. Okay, so now basically what will happen is in this turn chooser, if the active player matches the local player color, then we will listen to these. Basically what we've already been doing, we'll listen to these input events here. Otherwise we need to listen for messages from the server. That will explain what's going on. So I think I'm trying to decide if it's best to just add another state here, or if we need like a completely different mode. Probably a different mode, because we might want to have animations when the network player chooses their piece and chooses their action and so on. Well, we actually don't. We can just always check if the active player matches the local player. So we will need a reference to the local player. Okay. So we don't change anything here. So this will only go. This is what we use to show the possible movements. So it will only update if we're the local player. And then here, this is when we click. So basically nothing, this whole thing will only happen if we're the local player. can kind of test this, but obviously nothing will happen once we move the first piece. Like, it won't show up on the other game yet because we haven't implemented the server messages. Oh, why is there no light? It's a little weird. Okay, so now it's the black player's turn, but we can't click on it because we're the white player. And over here, now that is weird. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, actually I found this, like before I was trying to get that debug log to show up, and it's kind of annoying. You can't print like messages to it, but if you say a message is an error, then it will show up there. So let's see. So I think if we change this to log error, I mostly want to see if the net IDs are different, because they're supposed to be. Or at least that's how I understood it. Oh, why the console didn't show up? I thought that would work. Okay, so I'm looking to see if there's an easy way I can add text, but I don't have a font or anything set up, so I'm not sure if it will work. Okay. Let's move it somewhere. Yeah, I'll just put it in the middle of the screen for now. Let's make it a lot bigger. Oh, where'd it go? I guess 28's too much. Okay, and so I'm just gonna have the where'd it go? The player network interface. When it sets this net ID, I'm gonna have it also set that text for us. What's that called? It's text, but it didn't show up. Set this. didn't show up. Maybe it's because they're not using the namespace, I'm not sure. Oh, it's an array? Oh, it's because I said find objects of type. Okay. Well, first I'll just run this. Okay. Make sure it worked. Okay, so if we're the host. Alright. Oh, well now it showed up. But then, for some reason... Okay, now it's working right. Maybe I just forgot to rebuild it. But this was good anyway, just to make sure everything was working. Alright, so we don't need this canvas anymore. So what's the next step? I guess we'll start on the messages. So we'll need another command here. And again, these are called on the clients, but then executed on the server. And then the client RPC are the opposite. They're called on the server and executed on every client. Let's see. Let's actually make this more generic, because otherwise we're going to have a whole lot of different events here. And then we'll have a client RPC. Okay, so let's make another structure here. Let's say and what this will be is first the player color that actually executed the event. What do we call it? I guess player is fine, that makes sense. So what's different? Well, for now we only support select piece and select move space. In the future there'll be other ones such as like deselect, cancel, things like that. And then also we'll need an integer to select the piece, and also a vector 2 for the board position. Starting to get a bit too much. Okay, so here, take the turn action event. Let's change this to turn action message. Okay. So really all this does is just calls the RPC receive turn action. And then so this will be only called once. If it is a local player, then we'll call some message to relay this back to the turn chooser. Oh, it's messenger, not message. Okay, so it would be turn action event. Or we renamed it. Let's call this and then we'll register the component. Let's be even more explicit. Network turn action message. Okay. Yeah, then we'll need to go ahead and subscribe to it right here. Oh. Turn action message. And on network action. Oh, forgot parenthesis. I'll just go ahead and generate this. Let's put it down here. Okay, so we'll only care about this if the active player does not equal the local player. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any time that we'd receive a network action for the local player, but I don't think so. Well, I guess we would receive our messages back that we already sent. But, well, yeah, we'll wait. For now, this should be good. Okay, so if so we need to do something different depending on what type of action it is, obviously. So if we select the piece, we'll basically do the same thing we do up here. So we need to call the start action phase. And the piece ID that we would send it would be whatever was defined in the network action. And then the other type you can get is the move space. And for that we need to basically call this, so I'm going to extract it. What should we call it? Oh, we should rename this a choose space actually. That makes more sense. And then actually, yeah, this shouldn't have been taken out, but and the space we'll use here is the selected event. Oh, it's called the square position here. Too many curly brackets. Actually, I'll go ahead and move this down. And I'll rename this to choose piece just to be consistent with the naming. Now, one thing we notice here is that we can either assume that everything on the network is already validated, so then we wouldn't have to do this. See if it's a choosable space, and then we would just set the state. I think that's how I'll do it for now, but that kind of leaves possibility of cheating. So we'll probably want to change it in the future, but oh yes, and here we also need to set the also needs to know the behavior table. course, this was all for our multi-move turns, so we can support checkers. I'm still surprised that checkers is so much more complicated than chess in that respect, but okay, now here we'll say choose space. Now, I also don't know if we should. Well, we could either rely on the table that is sent to us over the network, or it's also possible for us to determine that ourselves, because theoretically both clients are running on the same data. So I think that's what we will do in the future, but again, for now, just to get this up and running, I'll go ahead and add this behavior table. Well, actually, I'll just always send it 0, because I know that we definitely will need to change it. Okay, so one other thing we need to do is here we need to send the message requests. So yeah, we need another messenger for that. Actually, probably a remote function. So okay, I'll just do it with messenger because we don't need any returns. So yeah, let's copy this. And this one we'll call network relay request. We don't need to subscribe to that. Let's see, network turn action. And then we'll go back to the network player interface and we'll basically do the same thing that we did for the color. Oh no, I'll leave that debug in. And we'll call this command and we'll pass the oh, oops, we have to okay. So I think that's all the pieces of the puzzle. Let's see what happens when we start the game up. Okay. So in order to send over the infector 2, so even though I told it to serialize these fields, it won't do it over the network. It's good to No, I'll just make these private then. I mean public. I know these are kind of redundant now, but I'll just leave them for consistency with my other data structures. Oh, well, I better build the game, of course. Oh. Okay. And that is not supposed to be what happens. You'll notice here that we're still having problems with defining the colors because we get something different. Well, I'll research into that soon, but I want to test the movement, so let's just keep going until they pick different colors. Okay, so let's pause. Oh, they chose the same thing. I didn't notice. This is annoying. Alright, one more time, and if they don't play nice this time, then I'll have to go try and fix that bug. Okay, so no. It seems like they almost always pick the same color. I wonder if that's always what happens. Now I'm curious. Let's see if we can figure out why that happens. Yeah, I know, that's what I want to know, clupel. Let's so I'm gonna call this, and I'm gonna see if for some reason okay. I'm gonna see if for some reason the color choosing is being run on both clients. It should only run on the host, but maybe I'm misunderstanding how it works. Okay, so no. it does say calculating color twice, but I think that we knew that would happen. Because we always had the problem before, but where they would calculate twice, but I thought that it would just ignore the second one. Did I forget to do that logic? Okay, so now it does say the received color. Just trying to think about what's going on. Okay, well, let's see here. Let's see what debug we get from that. So there, this one did 2 1 1 2. Yeah, see the 2 1 was the only one that is guarded, but for some reason this one's using the 1 2. But it doesn't have any of these other error debugs, so the server is not, it's not running on it. So I think, okay, let's see here. I'm just gonna do something hacky for now. Just try and see if this is a problem. In fact, I'll make this a static variable. So let's see what happens here. Oh, I need to build a new standalone. So now what happens is that the client doesn't even seem to get to get any of the messages. So I'm going to make the editor the client this time and see what debug messages we get. Okay, so it calculates the color like we thought. Am I getting it mixed up? I thought that the command was always only run once on the server. Okay, I think I see what it's saying. Okay, so it is invoked on the server. And furthermore, it's always invoked on the same, or the object with the same net ID on the server. So that's good to know, but it doesn't really explain our issue. Okay, so I think I'm understanding it right, but it's obviously not working how I expect. Let's see if this helps any. Yeah, okay. This is stumping me. So, trying to think if there's something else we can do, and then I'll have to do some research. Oh, I just noticed I forgot to send the message here, but that's obviously not the problem, but I'll go ahead and add it anyway. Oh, I see what I did. I think I accidentally... Oh no, this is player color calculations, okay. I was gonna say, I think I accidentally overwrote the color with the turn actions, but thankfully not. Yeah, netcode, it's definitely intimidating. I'm gonna be figuring out, so hopefully you'll be able to take lessons I've learned. So now what happens here, well, how I thought it was that the server would call this function, and then the action would, and then this RPC receive turn action would run on every client, and then if this is the client for the local player, it will call this, which will send the turn action into the turn chooser, and that will call this on network action message, which is where we handle everything else. Okay, well, this obviously didn't work with a static variable. I'll make another test object, or recompile the game. Okay, so if I'm the host, for some reason I use the first calculation, but the client always uses the second calculation. But then if I'm the client, I only receive one. I only receive the second one. Well, actually this time they're the same, but okay, well, let's take this opportunity to test. Okay, so the movement didn't do anything either. That's not what I wanted to see. Okay, so obviously you're getting something mixed up here. Commands which are called from the client run on the server, and client RPCs which are called on the server and run on clients. Oh yeah, this is one of my, let's see. Oh yeah, the Torment of a Twilight is a really good song. You can't really go wrong with Midna's theme in general. Commands are sent from player objects on the client to the player objects on the server. Commands can only be sent from your player object. I wonder if that is the issue we're running into. In fact, that could be. Maybe we should basically only have the local player do all this. Because maybe it doesn't throw an error if some other player calls a command, it just silently fails. It's a bit annoying, but okay, let's see if this works. Okay, so I'll have the editor be the host. Okay, so now we only get one calculation, but the client doesn't even do anything. So let's reverse it and see what happens. Okay, network player starts. Okay. I think I know. So we can't just do it this simple way because on the host, which is also the server, commands sent from the other player are run on the object that's not the local object, if that makes sense. Because we found out the commands are always run on the object on the server with the same net ID as the object that called the command. So what we actually need to do is, I think, that's kind of I was gonna say that we should put is local player here, but I think that's pretty much equivalent to what we were doing before. Let's see. So when the request player color is called, it's only called once by the match manager, but it will have two subscribers, the local, or both of the player network interface. Let's I changed in both the log error so it'll show up down here. I'm gonna see what we get from that. So I'll be the host. So we asked for the color and we got the color command. As for color 2. Well, we actually got the same message this time, but both of the color calculations the same. Yes, so I think that these only need to be registered if we're the local player, so let's see what happens here. I think this time we'll go back to where the board's not created on the client, but just gonna make sure. Okay, yeah, it's just like I thought. But we did only get one command at least. Now, of course, the question is how come the RPC isn't getting forwarded to the client? Is this the problem? Let's see what happens. It could be, because what could happen, maybe, I think I might have been misinterpreting it because this RPC is run on all clients but not all player interfaces, so it's a bit confusing, but hopefully this will be our problem. Okay, that was it. Okay, so white goes first, but it doesn't update it. Oh, it's because it's paused. Let's try that again. Well, I'm glad we fixed that bug. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's the key, is that RPCs are called on all clients, but not all of the player objects. So I'm white this time. Okay, but it's still not updating, but pretty sure we can figure this out. So did that ask for a turn action relay? Oh, I think in the turn chooser we never actually sent the relay request, so that's what we need to do now. Okay, so at least for the choose piece, since that's called twice, we need to add another thing here. Request. relay request. New turn action message. So the player is active player. Type is piece. And then piece is piece. And then we'll change that here and here. Let's see. And the other thing we need to do is do the same relay, except when we choose a space. So and then what is this? Cell event and then square. I think that should be about all we have to do here. So let's go ahead and run it and see. Still doesn't work. I'm gonna do it again because I want to wait until I get white pieces so that we get to see the debug logs. Come on, work with me. Oh, you're working on something like this too? Oh, it's not gonna give it to me, is it? Well, I think I'm just gonna hack in something here. None of these are always 0 and 1, so... Oh, not 0 and 1, it's 1 and 2. That's true. I wonder why they're not 0 index like most things. Ugh, I've got to rebuild it. I really want to get at least one piece to move before we have to end the stream. Am I gonna get a Switch? Yeah, probably. I'm a big Nintendo fan, but... Alright. Ugh, still didn't work right. Did it even... Oh, well, I don't have much choice. I have to finish around 6, so hopefully we'll be able to finish in about 10 minutes. Okay, well, it did ask for the turn action, but... Oh, it's the same thing again. I'm just gonna delete those. Okay, hopefully this will be the last time. Oh, did I? Strange, I think I accidentally said new scene. Okay. Well, something happened. Probably has to do with... Where'd that put that? Okay, 1 second, clupel. Actually, I have an email I set up for my stream, so you can just send it to nedmakesgames@gmail.com. Well, at least something's working, even though I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the positions there. Let's see. Maybe instead of doing an in vector 2, I'll just do regular old ints. That way we don't have to worry about some serialization error. Okay, yeah, so now we have to do space X, square pose X, space Y, square pose at Y. So I'll go ahead and build it again. Okay, well the position's still a bit weird, but I think we'll try and figure that out tomorrow. At least we got some kind of network movement, right? Did you email me what you were working on? 'Cause yeah, I need to head out in a few minutes. Otherwise, I can always just message you about it later. So, I wonder, let's go ahead and see like what exactly the action space X and space Y is giving us, since it doesn't really seem to make much sense from the positions of the pieces. Okay, so it is sending the right thing because we got 4-3, but for some reason it's not being positioned in the right place, so we'll have to look into that. At least we know it's not a network error. Except Okay, no, that's right. Yeah, I really do need to go, but I can hang around for 1 or 2 more minutes. Even though the positions are wrong, it's so satisfying to see them move. Let's see what something we can finish in just a minute or two. And I think everything pretty much placed besides the weird positions. Guess we can start looking into that. Oh, okay, that is the problem. The selection event is still used there instead of the actual space. Okay, I'll check it now. Oh yeah, it says nedmakesgames@gmail. Okay, I did get it. Always safe and sorry. Oh, cool, some 3D objects. Let's take a look at them. Finally, don't have to use those cubes. Trying to open Blender. There it is, downloads. Oh, of course, Blender doesn't take object files, does it? Okay, well, I'll just put them into Unity. Oh, cool, thanks a lot, clupel, that's really nice of you. Let's take a look at them real quick before I go. Oh, okay. I'll remember that for later. But we can see them in Unity just fine, really. Yeah, those are good. Yeah, I'll definitely import these tomorrow. I'm tired of using those cubes. Alright, well, yeah, well, I really do need to go, but I really do appreciate you making those models. That I'm not super good at modeling, so and these look really great. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great evening, and thanks again, clupel, and hope to see you tomorrow. Right, bye-bye.